Before language, before fire, before tools sharp enough to matter, before any of the things that eventually made humans the most dangerous species on Earth, there was fear. And the question of what that fear was, what it looked like, what it felt like in a body that was not yet fully human, is one of the most revealing questions you can ask about what we actually are. Because fear is not a cultural product. It is not something that varies by society or changes with fashion or can be argued out of existence by reason. Fear is older than reason. It is older than language. It is, in a very specific biological sense, the oldest mental experience the human lineage possesses. And understanding what it was at the beginning tells you something about what it still is now, underneath everything else that has been built on top of it. Start with biology. The structure of the human brain that processes fear, the amygdala, is one of the oldest parts of the brain in evolutionary terms. It is present in reptiles. It predates the cortex by hundreds of millions of years. It processes threat information faster than conscious thought. By the time you are aware of being afraid, the amygdala has already triggered the physiological response, the elevated heart rate, the muscle tension, the narrowing of attention. You do not decide to be afraid. The fear arrives before the decision-making part of the brain has been consulted. This is not a flaw in the system. It is the system working exactly as it was designed. In the environment where that system evolved, the cost of a false alarm, being briefly afraid of something that turned out not to be dangerous, was minimal. The cost of a missed alarm, failing to be afraid of something that was dangerous, could be death. So the system is set to be extremely sensitive and extremely fast. It fires before the evidence is fully assembled, and for millions of years, that sensitivity kept the lineage alive. So what was the first specific fear? The evidence from multiple directions: neuroscience, developmental psychology, evolutionary biology, and the study of modern hunter-gatherer groups converges on a surprisingly consistent answer. The first fear was not of death, not of darkness, not of the unknown in any abstract philosophical sense. The first fear was of something very specific. It was of being alone, not loneliness in the modern sense, the ache of social disconnection that a person experiences in a crowd, but a much more primal version, the terror of separation from the group in an environment where separation meant exposure, where exposure meant vulnerability, and where vulnerability, for a creature with no natural weapons, meant death. For a social species that had no survival outside the group, being alone was not an uncomfortable feeling. It was a direct threat to life. The fear of separation was the fear of dying, experienced through the channel of social loss rather than physical threat. And the evidence for its primacy is everywhere once you know where to look. Human infants are born with exactly two innate fears: the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. Both are present from birth, requiring no learning, no experience, no cultural transmission. Every other fear is acquired. But separation anxiety, the profound distress an infant experiences when removed from its primary caregiver, develops at around 6 to 8 months and is so consistent across every human culture that it is considered a developmental milestone rather than a problem. The infant is not learning to be afraid of separation. Something in its ancient biological architecture is activating as it develops the cognitive capacity to understand that the person who keeps it alive can disappear. That is the oldest fear becoming visible through the behavior of the newest humans. Look at what activates the amygdala most reliably in modern humans: social threat. The fear of rejection, of exclusion, of being cast out of the group produces neurological responses measurably similar to the responses produced by physical threat. The brain does not cleanly separate social danger from physical danger. Being excluded from a group in the part of the brain that processes threat registers similarly to being physically attacked, because for most of evolutionary history, those two things were the same event. To be excluded was to be physically endangered. The brain never learned to fully distinguish between them, but separation from the group, while perhaps the oldest, was almost certainly accompanied from very early on by the second great fear: predators. The human lineage spent millions of years as prey before it became a predator. The creatures that hunted early hominins, large cats, hyenas, crocodiles, birds of prey large enough to take children, shaped the fear system in ways that remain active in modern humans who have never seen a wild predator in their lives. The specific fears that require no learning in humans, snakes, spiders, the dark, heights, open exposed spaces, enclosed spaces with no exit, are not random. They are a map of the threats that killed members of the human lineage with enough consistency across enough generations to leave marks in the fear system itself. Ophidiophobia, the fear of snakes, is present in humans, chimpanzees, and rhesus monkeys, none of whom need to learn it. It appears spontaneously when the relevant stimulus is encountered, more quickly and more intensely than fear of modern dangers that are statistically far more lethal, like cars. The snakes that killed human ancestors left a trace in the amygdala that outlasted the specific environment that created it by hundreds of thousands of years. The fear that was useful in the forest is still running in the brain of someone sitting in an office who has never been near a wild snake. Darkness was not a philosophical fear, it was a practical one. The large cats that hunted early humans were most active at night. The concealment that darkness provided to a predator, the ability to approach unseen to close distance without triggering the flight response, meant that darkness was reliably correlated with heightened danger. Being in the dark was being in the category of situations where predators had the advantage. The fear of darkness was the fear of predators, expressed as an environmental cue that reliably predicted their presence. The fear of heights, the fear of open spaces with no cover, the fear of unfamiliar faces, the startled response to sudden movement at the edge of vision. These are not cultural anxieties, they are biological signals refined over millions of years of being hunted in specific ways by specific predators in specific environments. And then there was the fear that became something larger than any of the others. The fear of death itself, not the immediate physiological fear response triggered by a predator that is automatic and present in most animals, but the awareness of mortality, the understanding that you personally will die, that everyone you know will die, that the world will continue without you in it. This is uniquely human. No other species, as far as the evidence can determine, lives with a continuous awareness of its own eventual death. The amygdala processes the immediate threat. The cortex, the newer, larger, specifically human part of the brain, projects that threat forward across time and understands that it will happen eventually, independently of any specific danger in the current moment. When this awareness emerged in human prehistory is unknown. The earliest unambiguous evidence of humans preparing the dead for an afterlife, burying them with objects, arranging the bodies with apparent intentionality, appears around 100,000 years ago. The preparation for something after death implies an understanding that death is coming, and that understanding, that you know you will die and you spend your living time knowing it, is perhaps the deepest fear the human brain has ever had to accommodate. Every religion, every philosophy, every story the human species has ever told about what happens after life ends, every ritual, every grave, every prayer, all of it is the species trying to do something with a fear that the brain is large enough to create but not large enough to resolve. The first fear was of being left alone by the group in a dangerous world. The last fear is of being left alone in the universe itself, and they are, in the end, the same fear, wearing a different face.